You thought you knew everything about WWE's Golden Couple, but what I'm about to reveal will shatter every single thing you believed about Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. The WWE board just dropped a bombshell that has sent shockwaves through the entire wrestling universe, and the aftermath is so devastating that it's literally tearing apart one of the most beloved marriages in sports entertainment history. I'm talking about backstage politics so dirty, contract manipulation so twisted, and corporate interference so malicious that it makes the Monday Night Wars look like a friendly handshake. And here's the kicker, this isn't some storyline for television. This is real life, and it's happening right now as you're watching this video. Before I dive into this absolute chaos, I need you to do something. If this revelation makes your blood boil like it did mine, smash the like button so hard it breaks, because what WWE's corporate machine has done to these two superstars is beyond unforgivable. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to be so furious that you'll want to march straight to Stamford, Connecticut yourself. Let me paint you the picture of what really went down behind closed doors. For months, rumors have been swirling about tension between WWE's creative team and their top-tier talent, but nobody, and I mean nobody, saw this coming. According to multiple sources close to the situation, the WWE board made a decision that would make Vince McMahon's most controversial moments look like child's play. They implemented what they're calling a relationship clause in talent contracts, essentially giving the company control over their performers' personal lives and relationships. Here's where it gets absolutely insane. The board apparently told Seth and Becky that their real-life marriage was becoming a creative limitation for storyline development. Can you believe that? They literally told two human beings that their love for each other was bad for business. But wait, it gets worse. Much worse. Drop a fire emoji in the comments if you think WWE has crossed a line they can never come back from. The board allegedly presented them with an ultimatum that would make your head spin. They could either agree to staged relationship drama for television, including fake breakups, manufactured cheating storylines, and scripted marital problems, or face serious consequences to their push, storylines, and potentially their contracts. Think about that for a second. WWE essentially told Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch to monetize their marriage by destroying it on television, or watch their careers suffer. What kind of soulless corporate machine demands that level of personal sacrifice from their performers? Sources indicate that both Seth and Becky initially tried to work with creative to find middle ground. They suggested alternative storylines, different character directions, anything that would keep their personal relationships sacred while still delivering compelling television. But here's where WWE showed their true colors. Instead of respecting their wishes, the board doubled down. They reportedly threatened to split the couple across different brands permanently, limit their television time, and even hinted at potential releases if they couldn't be team players. Who do you think is really pulling the strings behind this decision? Nick Khan? Triple H? Drop your theories below. The final straw came when WWE Creative pitched a storyline that would have involved Seth cheating on Becky with another female performer, complete with intimate scenes and a months-long affair angle. When both superstars firmly rejected this proposal, that's when everything fell apart. According to insiders, the meeting where this storyline was pitched lasted over 3 hours and ended with Becky Lynch walking out in tears and Seth Rollins slamming his fist on the conference table so hard that it left a mark. What happened next is where this story goes from shocking to absolutely heartbreaking. The constant pressure from WWE, the threats to their livelihoods, and the impossible position they were put in began taking a toll on their real relationship. Think about it, how do you maintain a healthy marriage when your employer is actively trying to exploit and destroy it for entertainment value? How do you trust each other when corporate executives are literally plotting ways to create fictional infidelity between you? If you were in Seth and Becky's position, what would you have done? Fight the company or protect your relationship? The stress reportedly became unbearable. Seth began questioning whether staying in WWE was worth potentially losing his marriage. Becky started having panic attacks before creative meetings, never knowing what new violation of their privacy would be demanded. Friends close to the couple describe watching them transform from the happiest newlyweds in wrestling to two people walking on eggshells around each other, constantly worried about how their interactions might be twisted into storyline fodder. But here's what makes this situation even more sinister. Multiple wrestlers who spoke on condition of anonymity revealed that Seth and Becky weren't the only couple being targeted by these relationship clauses. WWE has apparently been implementing these tactics across their entire roster, treating real-life relationships like corporate assets to be exploited. They've been pressuring married couples to incorporate their relationships into storylines, regardless of how uncomfortable it makes the performers. Can you name other WWE couples who might be facing similar pressure? Let me know in the comments. One former WWE writer, speaking anonymously, described the company's new approach as treating human beings like fictional characters and admitted that several creative team members have quit rather than participate in what they called emotional manipulation of the talent. The writer revealed that there are literal spreadsheets tracking which wrestlers are dating, married, or in relationships, with notes about how these relationships could be monetized for television. It's like a sick game where real human emotions are just another commodity to be bought and sold. Here's where WWE's actions become truly unforgivable. When Seth and Becky continued to resist these relationship storylines, the company allegedly began planting false stories about their marriage in wrestling media. Suddenly, sources close to the couple were reporting marriage troubles that didn't exist. Dirt sheet writers were getting tips about arguments and separations that were completely fabricated. WWE was literally creating the narrative they wanted, regardless of the truth. Do you think WWE plants fake stories about other wrestlers too? What other reports might actually be corporate manipulation? The psychological warfare didn't stop there. WWE reportedly began scheduling Seth and Becky for conflicting appearances, making it impossible for them to spend time together. They were sent to different cities for house shows, booked for separate media obligations, and kept apart as much as possible. It was like the company was actively trying to destroy their marriage through forced separation and manufactured stress. And the most twisted part? They were doing it while pretending to support their WWE family. After months of this torture, Seth and Becky reportedly reached their breaking point. In what sources describe as one of the most emotional conversations of their lives, they realized that staying married while working for WWE had become impossible. The company had successfully poisoned their relationship by making it a battleground. Every conversation about work became an argument. Every creative meeting became a source of anxiety. Their love had become weaponized against them. Drop a broken heart emoji if this story is making you emotional. These are real people with real feelings. The decision to divorce wasn't made out of lack of love, it was made as a desperate attempt to save whatever they could of their relationship. They reportedly agreed that they couldn't let WWE destroy what they had built together, even if it meant making the ultimate sacrifice. Friends close to the couple describe it as the most mature, selfless decision two people could make under impossible circumstances. They chose to protect their love by legally ending their marriage, hoping that removing WWE's leverage would allow them to rebuild their relationship away from corporate interference. The wrestling world's response to this news has been swift and brutal. Social media exploded with outrage directed at WWE's corporate leadership. Hashtags demanding accountability have been trending worldwide. Current WWE performers, speaking anonymously, have expressed horror at what happened to Seth and Becky. Many are reportedly reconsidering their own relationships and how much they're willing to sacrifice for their careers. What do you think other WWE superstars should do in response to this situation? Independent wrestlers and performers from other promotions have been vocal in their condemnation. AEW wrestlers have been particularly critical, with several suggesting that WWE's treatment of talent has reached a new low. Former WWE legends have also weighed in, with many expressing disgust at how far the company has fallen from its original values. The contrast between WWE's public image as a family-friendly company and their private treatment of actual families couldn't be more stark. Legal experts are now questioning whether WWE's relationship clauses constitute workplace harassment or violation of privacy rights. Employment lawyers are suggesting that demanding control over employees' personal relationships could open the company to massive lawsuits. Several former WWE performers are reportedly considering legal action, claiming they were also pressured to exploit their personal relationships for storyline purposes. This could potentially become a class action lawsuit that rocks the entire entertainment industry. Do you think Seth and Becky should sue WWE? What kind of justice would be appropriate here? The precedent this sets is terrifying. If WWE can successfully pressure performers into sacrificing their marriages for entertainment, what other personal boundaries will they cross? Where does it end? Beyond all the corporate politics and legal implications, let's not forget the human cost of this situation. Two people who found love in an industry known for destroying relationships have been forced apart by the very company that should have been celebrating their happiness. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch represent everything that's right about professional wrestling: talented, dedicated performers who found genuine connection in a world full of artifice. Their love story inspired fans around the world and proved that real relationships could flourish in sports entertainment. Now, that inspiration has been perverted into a cautionary tale about corporate greed and the price of fame in modern WWE. Share a memory of Seth and Becky's relationship that made you smile. Let's celebrate what they had before WWE destroyed it. The ripple effects of this decision will be felt throughout their families, their friends, and the entire wrestling community. Children who looked up to them as role models will struggle to understand why love wasn't enough. Fans who invested emotionally in their journey will feel betrayed and manipulated. This situation exposes a darker truth about WWE's current corporate culture. Under the guise of sports entertainment, they've created a system where human beings are treated as content creation machines rather than people with feelings, families, and fundamental rights. The message being sent to current and future WWE performers is clear: your personal life belongs to the company. Your relationships, your privacy, your emotional well-being, it's all fair game if it can generate revenue or television drama. How do you think this will affect WWE's ability to sign top talent in the future? Young wrestlers coming up through the system now have to consider whether achieving their dreams is worth potentially sacrificing their personal relationships. Parents will think twice before encouraging their children to pursue careers with a company that treats love as a corporate asset. The talent exodus from WWE to other promotions may accelerate as performers realize that other companies respect the boundary between professional and personal life. WWE's monopolistic grip on the industry could finally face real challenges as their reputation for treating talent poorly reaches new lows. This incident may force the entire wrestling industry to examine how it handles performers' personal lives. Other promotions are already using WWE's mistakes as recruiting tools, promising talent that their private lives will remain private. The old days of kayfabe protecting wrestlers' personal relationships may actually return, not as a creative choice but as a business necessity. Companies may realize that respecting boundaries actually creates more loyalty and better performances than exploitation and manipulation. What changes do you want to see in how wrestling companies treat their performers' personal lives? As fans, we have more power than we realize. Our voices, our wallets, and our attention drive this industry. If we're disgusted by WWE's treatment of Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, we need to make that known in ways the company can't ignore. This isn't just about two wrestlers, it's about establishing that there are lines that shouldn't be crossed, even in the name of entertainment. It's about demanding that the people who risk their bodies and sacrifice their time for our enjoyment be treated with basic human dignity. The wrestling community has always been at its best when it stands together against injustice. Whether it was supporting wrestlers' rights to unionize, fighting discrimination, or demanding better safety standards, fans and performers united have created real change. What specific actions do you think fans should take to support Seth and Becky and prevent this from happening to others? The story of Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch's forced divorce will be remembered as a watershed moment in wrestling history. It represents the point where WWE's corporate culture became so toxic that it literally destroyed love itself. But their sacrifice doesn't have to be in vain. If this tragedy opens eyes, changes policies, and forces the industry to respect the humanity of its performers, then something positive can emerge from this darkness. Seth and Becky deserve better. Every wrestler deserves better. Every human being deserves to have their personal relationships respected and protected, regardless of how much money those relationships could generate. The wrestling world is watching to see how we respond to this injustice. Will we accept that personal relationships are just another commodity to be exploited? Or will we demand that love, marriage, and human dignity remain sacred, even in sports entertainment? Use the comments section to send messages of support to Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. Let them know that fans around the world stand with them against corporate exploitation. Share your thoughts on how the wrestling industry needs to change to prevent tragedies like this from happening again. The power is in our hands. The question is, what are we going to do with it? If this video opened your eyes to the dark reality of WWE's corporate culture, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We need to keep exposing these injustices until real change happens. Share this video with every wrestling fan you know, because the more people who understand what's really happening behind the scenes, the harder it becomes for companies to get away with treating talent like disposable assets. The fight for wrestlers' rights and human dignity in sports entertainment starts now. And it starts with us.